Hey right guys, Truthmuch Joe here, and today we are going to be doing something that I've told myself I'll be doing over and over again and then always falter after like 3 or 4 months. But what I watched and what I played in the month of January, I'm going to try and actually stick to doing 12 of these this year, one for each month, because I always slack. I did some in 2018, slack with that, then I did some in 2019, slack with that. We'll see. 2020, I want to say I'll do it every month, but who bloody knows. But yeah, for those who don't know, this is basically where I just go through everything that I watched and played game-wise in the month of January. Just kind of give you a rundown of what I've been, I guess, up to, because I do obviously play some games and watch films off camera and even watch some TV series off camera, believe it or not. So that's been it's been a lot of fun, and January's actually been quite a good month. So yeah, we'll go through what I played firstly, and then we'll probably jump into films and then TV series that I kind of went through. So playing wise, I spoke about this one, I think mid or early in 2019, but Days Gone, I played about half of the game, and then when I moved into this place, I stopped playing it and then got into it again, then stopped playing it, and now I'm getting into it again for the third time. I'm actually going to try and finish and complete it. So Days Gone, as I said in the last time I spoke about it, whenever that was, enjoyable game. The story is really what holds it up there. I don't think the gameplay is incredible. I think the gameplay is good, but I won't say it's incredible. I think the story is really what holds it together in the kind of world that it's in as well. So I think this is one of those games that if they ever do, maybe they probably already are working on, I don't know, but if they do Days Gone 2, I feel like it'll be a huge improvement. There's a lot they can improve on the game, I feel. But I'm really enjoying it, and I'm close to completing it now. I think I'd say maybe like 75% of the way through the game, so fairly close. Another game that I've finally got to was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which obviously a lot of people have been playing recently. I started this in November when it came out. I did a few live streams on it actually as well, and then stopped playing because other games came out, and then other stuff came on, like Christmas of course and that lot. So finally got around to completing it. I actually platinumed the game as well, so got every single trophy on the game, and I loved it. I think this is I'm not like the biggest Star Wars nerd or anything, but the story in this game, I think it did take a few hours for me to really get invested in the story. I'd say about 3-4 hours into it was when I really started to get invested into it. But once I got to that point, I fell in love with it. I think the boss battles are awesome. It's actually feels nice to have a lightsaber and actually be satisfying to use. Rating wise, I'd probably give this a 4 out of 5. There are some gut-wrenching glitches in this game. There's slopes where I wasn't able to progress into the game. There was an actual glitched trophy, and for a while I thought it'd be one of those games where I'd have every trophy on the game -1. It was the one where you had to take down all 4 of the legendary creatures. Luckily, I found a way around it, a way to glitch it out and actually get the trophy without having to go through the entire game again. And going through the entire game again and risking the trophy being glitched again, I was just like, no, I'm not going to bother. So it's going to be one of those things where I left one trophy out. But luckily, managed to get it. So there were some glitches in the game that kind of stopped it being that perfected 5 out of 5 for me. But overall, 4 out of 5 for that one. 2 games that I don't own on disc, but one was Inside, and obviously I believe it's from the people who did the game Limbo. It's very similar, so I don't know if it's exactly the same people, but I'm pretty sure it is. And I loved Inside. That game for me was a 5 out of 5. Very simple. It's just a puzzle platformer. The game lasts about 4 hours overall. Got 100% of the trophies on that as well, and I loved it. And the other one that I played that is actually kind of similar to it, but not from the same people from, I believe, as well. But a game called Little Nightmares. Played through all of that main game and all of its DLC as well. And I think Little Nightmares 2 is coming out pretty soon this year as well. But that was a super fun game. Inside was a 5 out of 5 for me. Little Nightmares as a whole, I think the main game was a 5 out of 5. But the DLC was like a 3 out of 5. I think the DLC was a little disappointing. The DLC was nowhere up there as what the main game was. So overall, I'd probably give Little Nightmares a 4 out of 5. The DLC kind of brought it down a little bit. All very enjoyable games this month so far. And then obviously the odd, I'm playing FIFA and Call of Duty, all those games as well. But we don't really talk about those because they're just kind of everlasting, just playing them forever. So yeah, game-wise, really enjoying some of the games I'm playing in January. As for films, I only managed to fit in 5 films this month. I've been kind of tragic. It's been a travesty with films. But on the 1st of Jan, I started with Little Women. I did an entire review for that film on the channel, so if you want to check that out, just put in Little Women review Trophy Munchers and it should come up. But I really enjoyed this film. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Lawrence Pugh wins every time. Second film I watched this month was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino's latest film. Finally got around to it. I didn't get to see it in cinema, and it was one of those films that when it came out everyone was kind of saying it's just boring, it's just nothing kind of happens, and I get the criticisms that the film has, I really do, but I think because I went in with the mindset that not a lot happened in the film and that it's a kind of slow film and not, you know, not what you'd expect from Tarantino, I think. But going in with that mindset, I think I enjoyed it a lot more than I would have if I didn't. If I kind of went in like, oh, is it going to be like Django and Pulp Fiction? Nothing like this. Well, obviously there's similarities to those films, same director after all, but not one of his best films, not one of his worst. I said, I think in the Little Women review I mentioned it briefly, that it kind of sits slap bang in the middle for me with Tarantino, and I really enjoyed it. A very long film, but and there were some scenes in there that were very kind of bland and boring, mainly one where Brad Pitt kind of goes to a ranch and you're kind of thinking something's going to happen in that scene and then it kind of doesn't. Scenes like that, there was a couple in there that didn't really grip my attention, but overall I really enjoyed it, and very great end as well. The final scene is insane. I love that. And then I saw these two on the same day, but one was called Weathering With You, and the one I watched straight after that as a double billing at the cinema was Your Name. So obviously Weathering With You is the from the director of Your Name. It's his latest film. Weathering With You was a 3.5. Very good film. I enjoyed it. The story was pretty cool. I wasn't entirely satisfied with the way it ended, but the characters were great. Animation was obviously beautiful. And Your Name, this is the 4th time I've seen it, 2nd time at the cinema, and it's still perfection to me. Your Name is a 5 out of 5 film, one of the best anime films I've ever seen. I love that film to pieces, and it's one of those I could rewatch at least once a year and still still enjoy it. So definitely check out Your Name if you haven't. That was the best film technically that I saw this month, but it's a rewatch. Like, as I said, the 4th time I've watched it. And the worst film I watched this month was meant to be a joke. My boys George and Bez came round and we slapped on a film called Sand Sharks. Yeah, this is one of those kind of B film, films that are meant to be tragic, but this was actually awful. Bez actually fell asleep. We were pissing ourselves for about, I think, 40 minutes. This was a film that was an hour and a half, and it felt like it was 3. The film went on for so long, and I gave that one 1 star. Like Robo Shark is another one we watched, and that was one of those where it's so bad, but it was actually funny, and we had a good time with that. We actually reacted to Robo Shark, so Robo Shark reaction, type that in, that should come up as well. But that was like enjoyably bad. This was just shit. So that was a 1 star. Worst film I watched this month was obviously Sand Sharks, but it was inevitably going to be. Best film I watched that wasn't Your Name because that was a rewatch would be probably this, closely followed by Little Women. As I said, I won't go too much into Little Women because I did an entire review for that. Film wise, I think it did decent. Like, 5 films is awful. I'm hopefully going to step that up in the next, this month I guess now, but yeah, that was kind of bad. I thought I'd do a little bit better in Jam, but failed miserably. So yeah, as for TV series, not a lot. I started watching House, and I finished season 1 of House, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to be watching season 2 of that. I gave season 1 an 8 out of 10 overall, and then I'm doing my 5th rewatch of 24. So finished season 1 of that as well, and season 1 to me is still, I'd say, a 9 out of 10. Pretty much perfect. There's some flaws in there still as well, but overall they're the 2 shows that I've watched off camera. And then on the channel we obviously finished Glee season 2, which is one of them, and then a few other seasons, but obviously and Buffy season 3 as well, but I give my thoughts of those in obviously the reactions. So Sex Education season 2 as well was another show that was just surprised the hell out of me, because if you haven't seen my reactions to those, Sex Education season 1 I really liked, but season 2 was just insane. It actually became one of my favourite Netflix shows of all time. Second favourite under And With the Knee. So yes, there's a lot about the show. Sex Education is awesome. So yeah, obviously there were some shows that I reacted to on the channel that we finished. Season wise, not entire show wise. pretty short video, hopefully. I don't know, but that's kind of what I've watched and what I've played in January. I'm going to try and keep this up. If I just aim for 6 months at least, then all I have to do is then aim for 6 months after the first 6 months. So it shouldn't be too hard. We'll wait and see. But thank you for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed them. I know these don't get many views at all on the channel, but it's just something that I enjoy talking about. But if you have watched anything, which I'm assuming you have, or played anything, comment down below what they are and what your favourite of the month has been. And hopefully I'll see you at the start of March for what I watched and played in Feb. Until then, guys, peace.